Hey, yo, peace and blessings and power to the people. This is your man, Tony XP Ivory, and you're here with another special edition of news powered by WRUG Media. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about race relations and police brutality and how it affects our community and what you can do as young people to try to prevent such things happening. I know we can't totally prevent it, but we're going to give you some tips and some ideas on what you can do to stay alive. I'm here with Mr. Dante and my good friend Kyle, and I got a couple questions for you guys starting off. So what do you think the job of the police is to do?
I think the job of the police is to protect the people, not think they are over the law in some cases.
Do you know anybody that's been personally affected by a situation dealing with the police?
Yes, I'd say myself for one, but also not so personal. I've heard a lot about in the media people like Eric Garner or Michael Brown, etc. The list goes on. There was actually a girl in my home city of Detroit who was shot. I think she was like a toddler,
Right.
and she was shot through her house when the police decided to fire a warning shot into her house. I
Wow.
think her name was Cynthia.
Wow. Now, for those out there who've been rocking with me, following me, I'm from Detroit too, born and raised, been there all my life. And that's one thing that the point of this video is is to give young people, not to teach you to be afraid, but to give you some pointers and some things that you can use that will kind of help diffuse some of these situations. Because if you're young and you're black, you already have two strikes against you when they're coming at you. Now I'm here with my guy Eric and my good lady friend Marcriana. I said that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm usually bad with names, but I got it right. Get all the celebrity names right, but I got the comment. It's all good. But hey, on a serious note, we're talking about race relations and how to deal with encounters with police. There's been so many events that have taken place over the last year and a half where innocent black people have been victims of gun violence, being taken down by police officers. So I want to talk about racial profiling. When you're riding in a car and you're riding with your parents or your friends and you see the police behind you, how does that make you feel?
Well, it's not like I be scared sometimes, but then again, I don't be because my mama got everything. Like she got her license and stuff like that. So, but like if I'm in the car with my friends, I be kind of spooked because like what if they pull us over? Cause we be like kind of deep in the car.
When you're riding with your mom, you said you feel more safer in the car because she might have her driver license are valid. She might have her insurance up to date. So with riding with your friends, are you worried that they might not have that paperwork?
Yes, and we probably all get put to jail, or we probably all might get a warrant, go to court or something like that. And I like don't be safe with it.
Okay. So does that make you want to stay home more, or do you still say, hey, I'm gonna try to hang out with my friends?
I be iffy about it because I be want to go out and have fun, but then again, I be like, nah, I'm cool. I just stay at home for the day and stuff like that.
Okay. So what do you think about when you turn on the news or you may turn on the TV and all across the news all day, all you see is team mobs attacking people and they never get a chance to talk to any other teams to get their side of the story?
Most of the time, then I'm interested on how many times am I going to see it a day? How did it happen? Who was it affecting? Once you get all that and you start to add it up, sometimes it just doesn't even sound right.
Right. Well, that's one thing, and that's the reason why we're here today. As being a black-owned media company, being an independent media company, we have to be able to tell our story our way. If you took a pencil and I show it 100 times and say, hey, he stole a pencil, not knowing that you could have borrowed the pencil or anything, if we don't get the full story, the way we edit and we cut video can be misleading. And I think that's what a lot is going on. When you have stories like Eric Garner and you have stories about what happened in Charleston, there's other things that's going on. I believe that they air those things in a manner to rile us up, to distract us. I'm here with Miss Renisha and Mr. Lee Anthony. Now, Mr. Lee Anthony, let me ask you a question. Do you think the punishment fits the crime when you see a person like Mike Brown who's gunned down by a police officer that was unaware of what happened at that convenience store?
I think not.
Okay.
Because I think that he should have just had talked to him first instead of just taking action. We don't know what happened or something like that.
Right.
And I think it don't fit the crime.
Right.
I mean, fit the punishment.
let's just say, for instance, that I did rob a store. If the police pulled me over, I'm walking home, and he's not questioning me about me robbing this store. Do you think I'm gonna sit here and get into an altercation with the police when I just got away with robbing a store? I'm not gonna argue with the police. So that's why that whole situation is a little murky to me. So let me ask you the same question. What do you think when you watch the TV or you see the news and you see people of other races committing way harsher crimes than what the black people are being accused of, and they're still alive, but yet we've been gunned down and murdered without even having our day in court? What do you think about that?
That's where the law come in there, because if you have somebody who committing a petty crime, it then going away and getting years, but you got police officers that's killing people for no reason and they only getting suspended, then it's not fair to black people.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. Being young people, do you think it's more accessible to watch a Fetty Wap video or get information about what's going on, such as the Mike Brown situation?
It's good to know what's going on in your community and the situation that's around you, because you want to be aware of everything that's happening.
Do you think that the music that they put out today kind of distracts y'all from what's really going on? I mean, when you think about the songs that come on the radio, that it's all kind of party music. Do you think that distracts y'all in any kind of way from what's really going on?
No, I don't think so. It's just like, well, it is like some crazy song just coming out now. But like, I don't think it's a distraction.
Okay. Well, I tend to think a little bit different, but I'm gonna hold my opinion on that one. But I think it's important, for situations like this, because young people y'all age get to hear ideas and thoughts from somebody that looks and that's the same age as them. A lot of times when older people are trying to give out information, it kind of goes through one ear through the other one because people feel like you can't relate to them. So I got one more question. Let's say, for instance, you're riding in a car with a group of your friends. The police pull you over. What's the first thing you're going to tell your friend that's driving?
To make sure his seatbelt on and make sure he got his license and stuff. But I ain't get in the car with nobody who don't have all the things, the necessities that they need to be legally driving.
Now, last but not least, I have my good friend Tim here, and I have a quick question for you, Tim. Do you know what racial profiling is and what it means?
Yes and no. I would say racial profiling is like stereotypes and disbelief in a race by what they look. Man.
Now, before we go into our tips, I just want to add this in real quick. I was in a situation where I got pulled over by the police, and he was a white police officer, and the first thing he comes to the car, he sees my car, and he assumes because it's a nice car, it's a luxury car, that I got to be a drug dealer. So the first thing he asks me, you got any guns or drugs in the car? Now, how you doing? Let me see your license or insurance. First thing he said, you got guns and drugs in the car. I said no. He asked me again, are you sure? Let me know if you got guns or drugs. Why is it because I'm black and I drive a nice car that I automatically have to have guns or drugs in the car? That's a prime example of what racial profiling is. They're going to give you, in their own opinion, some tips that can help you, stay alive in a situation like this, because there is, a war going on out here in these streets, and we want to educate our young people. And what better way than to hear from somebody their own age?
The first one would be to not do anything that will cause suspicion, to make it look like you're up to something, in the event that the police are approaching you. Then you should stay calm and comply with what they say.
In my own experience, I've been pulled over with my mother by cops, usually white, who are just, I guess, profiling in the pure sense, in that they see a black person driving and they think, oh, that's our guy, or something to that effect. One time, even my grandmother was driving alone in a mostly white neighborhood known as Germantown here, which is pretty notorious for having a non-aggregated police force. They pulled her over, and when they got to her window, they said, oh, we were looking for a different person. Sorry, you can go on. So it wasn't really it wasn't because she was speeding or she was doing anything, but they just saw her black face, and they said, oh, that might be our guy. The same thing happened when I was in the car with my mother. As far as tips to prevent a fatality, I guess, when being pulled over by the cops, like my friend here said, you're at war. So if you're trying to prevent death, I'd say you do it by any means necessary. So if you have to chuck and jive for the police, I say do it, because at least you're not getting killed in the process. For me personally, usually if I can, I try to make small talk with the cops so that to try to get, I guess, below the whole occupation aspect of their lives, which consumes most of them. So to try to, I guess, build a bridge of empathy between me and them, I might say something about the weather or their job, so as to get them to lower those barriers that they have. Even though I don't necessarily like them as people, I have to do what I have to do. So that's that.
Like, my tips on it, like, be respectful and don't put yourself in that predicament and try to argue back and forth with them. Like, if they tell you to do something, do it, because you don't know what they might even do, because nowadays they just running over us. Stay calm. Whatever they say, just do it.
Sometimes if the police pull you over, like, they can ask a question, and like some black people, they just like say like something in a slang way. Like sometimes you just gotta talk respectful. You know, can't just be like, nah, bro, I don't get it, and stuff like that. It's like talk respectful, like no sir, yes ma'am, and all that.
My advice would be to know your rights. You know, you want to be respectful, but know that you do have rights, and don't be afraid to ask for a badge number or ask for a lieutenant, and go as far as you have to go. You know, we have to start holding our politicians accountable for the things that go on, and I would encourage all young people, if you're at the age of 18 and you're eligible to vote, register and vote, because that's important. That's how we get these laws changed. You know, it's just not about voting for the president. There are local issues that is on the ballot that we have to vote and address. And don't be afraid to be educated. You know, a lot of times because of hip hop, you know, hip hop is a culture that's now been turned over to gangster rap, and it almost seems like it's almost like do whatever, be whatever. I mean, it's the truth. But don't be afraid to be educated. If you like that type of music, then that's what you like. But at the same time, don't be afraid to you know, get educated. You know, when you go to school, don't be afraid to do your work, carry your books, be proud about it. So that would be my advice to young people. You know, get educated and get motivated and register to vote. Election is coming up for mayor, so I need all my young people to register to vote.
Everybody we want to fight for what we want, and we want stuff like we want it, but we not doing it the legal way. So that gives police another reason to come at us, because we coming off disrespectful. So if you want to fight for what you want, and you want certain stuff legalized or whatever the case may be, try to go about it the right way. And with dealing with the police, and when you're dealing with the police, just treat them as if you talking to somebody who on the same level as you. Don't give them higher authority, because then they gonna take advantage of it if you do. And if you get pulled over by the police, don't act nervous. You know they gonna want to see your hands. Make sure your hands shown. Just do what you're supposed to do, because you already know what to do. So don't give off no sudden movements. But if you haven't did nothing wrong, then you shouldn't have nothing to worry about.
Even dealing with the police, you still have to be aware of all of your surroundings, such as when you go to a new neighborhood, like when you move to a new neighborhood, you have to know what surroundings not to go by and what surroundings you are supposed to be by. Like, as in hanging around with the wrong crowd. You know, the police always look for a gang of black boys or a gang of black men anywhere they go. They always look for that, and they will always pull you over for that. Also, especially for hoodies, they look for hoodies. Like with the Trayvon Martin case, just because he had his hoodie on, he was shot. But also that you have to make sure that even when you're wearing a hoodie, like take off your hood. I don't care how cold it is, take off your hood, or how raining it is, or something like that, or use an umbrella if you have to. Also, with the education-wise, some people actually pick on you for having so much knowledge on you. You can still act like you're cool, but also have enough knowledge to know that I'm not supposed to hang around with this crowd, or I'm not supposed to go down that street because I know drug dealers or vice lords or whatever are down there.
We don't have to go versus the police, but we can work against. Not all police are bad. They're not animals. They're actually nice people. They're all humans, I could say. But some policemen, you do have to watch out for them. You gotta treat them like you're in Sunday school or church. Stay courteous, stay respectful.
Well, these were some grateful tips, and hopefully that, you know, young people that's watching this video and that will watch this video can really learn something from this. In my closing statements, I got a chance to go to a panel discussion where one of the chief of police here said that the reason why he felt like what happened to Trayvon, what happened to Eric Garner would not happen here, because he felt like that the police had a good relationship with the churches in the city. One of the other people on the panel was actually a pastor, and he was very angered by that comment, because he said, as a pastor, I haven't seen the police come to my church or my community. And that's one thing that I want to stress, you know, especially here in the city of Memphis. Don't think that that can't happen here. Dr. Martin Luther King was killed at the Lorraine Motel, which is literally 20 minutes from any part of town. And you have a city where it's so much racial hatred and division that took place on this soil, yet we have so much black on black crime. In a city where it's almost 75 to 80% black, we still have a lot of racial profiling. It's a lot of poverty in this city, and there's a lot of issues that needs to be addressed here. So I encourage everybody to watch this video. It's time to, we need to create a movement to where we're doing something about it. You know, we can get on TV, we can get on radio, we can talk about it, but until we actually apply it, you know, there's some kids that go to school that don't have food to eat when they get home. There's parents out there working 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet, and they don't have time to raise their kids. You know, it used to be when I was growing up, if you got a whooping from your mom, you got a whooping from everybody in the community. I'm not saying beat the kids, but I'm saying that love. The neighbor down the street needs to love that child just like they love their own children. If we can do those things, then the police won't have no choice, because they'll see, hey, these folks are unified. Their community is not going. I can't come in their community and harass them, because everybody's going to come out and stand up, you know. But we have this no snitching policy now. We have these policies that keep us divided. So again, just be aware. I encourage all the young people out there, if you're at the age to vote, register and go out and get aware of what's on the ballot and vote, so you can make a difference. Because if you don't, what you're being handed down is just straight chaos, and it's going to be hard to repair it if we continue to let this train drive itself. So again, this has been your man Tony XP Ivory. This has been a special edition of news, and this has been powered by WRUG Media. Peace and blessings to everybody. Stay encouraged, stay lifted, and most of all, stay safe.